welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the unofficial sumo podcast for official sumo fans. This is Ryan.
This is Flarek.
This is Jake.
And this is Mac.
And the hell was that, Mac?
What? It was an intro.
Stop pretending you're sick. Come on, we're recording a podcast.
I know we're recording a podcast. Why do you think I'm drinking the tea?
All
Quit
right,
doing your
like a
Roz from
12-pack.
Monsters Inc. impression.
That is a classic Pixar movie, and I will defend it to the death.
Whatever. All right, and Flarek, address egregious mistake because I was introduced as Ryan, but that's not quite correct for this episode, is it?
Right you are. I apparently am sticking with the meme of losing or winning only this entire year. But of course, you are the great Yokozuna Ryan, who is best at predicting things, all things sumo. Not just the Banzuke, but also who is going to win more than other people and who's going to lose more than other people.
Just change this trophy to say best sumo guy instead of best Banzuke guy, and then it would be accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, on that, Jake.
Let's pump the
Make it
brakes.
Yeah, I request a new trophy.
Oh,
All right, this
That was a
this is-
one-time thing. I cannot afford to do one of those every Bosch.
So this is our recap of the Aki Basho. Before we dive into the results, real quick, we want to hand out some compliments to our patrons. Jake, who do we have first?
Thank you for rejoining the cause, William. With your new, your renewed support of our podcast, thank you for rejoining us. GSB can finally afford a back brace so Flarek can sit up straight, and we can finally afford Mac to get his own room so he doesn't have to record from his single-bedroom apartment. Poor destitute Mac. It's thanks to William that we can finally get him out on his own.
It's
I
why
really
he's
do
faking
appreciate
the
it,
sick
William.
voice to gain the sympathy and try to get more money.
You're right. I have to sublet everything. This is just my life right now.
It's actually a garage. He just put up some nice drywall on one
Shoot.
side of it.
Shush! Don't tell my neighbors.
This is how I know Jake embezzles, because I have got no back support at all. And I'm
No back
gonna
support.
continue slouching all the time.
GSB Incorporated truly is on the edge of bankruptcy if we can't even afford lumbar support for our employees.
But not only thank you to William for rejoining the cause, but thank you to all of our continuing patrons, but especially to Vegso. I get more excited thinking about how great you are than I do when I think about Brandon Sanderson's upcoming finale to his first story arc of the Stormlight Archive. And that is incredibly excited. Jake,
This must be like
you can give like the boring yawning stuff all you want. You're outvoted 3-1 here, buddy.
No,
Just
that's
read
okay.
the damn books. Just
I
read
get
the
it.
damn books.
Because this is what it's like when I talk Lord of the Rings at people. I get it. I
at
have
least-
to experience the other side of that equation sometimes.
I at least read Lord Rings, Jake.
I also
Wait,
have
what?
read
Are you
The
saying
Lord
I
of the
haven't?
Rings.
Or what?
No, I'm saying compared to Lord of the Rings, all of us have read Lord of the Rings book, so we at least understand that much. We're not as obsessed as you about it, but
Okay. I
Yes.
feel like we're veering
I
off
know what he
topic.
wants. I know what he wants. Jake, you are the best Lord of the Ring memer in our
I was
entire
just saying.
friend group.
I'm just trying to guilt you. That's all.
Nope. All right. I'll let it go.
Jake, what do we got for Amazumo updates?
I do appreciate you saying that I'm the most knowledgeable about Lord of the Rings, but regardless, we'll move on. Amateur sumo, like I made a big deal about on the Midway, Worlds happened, and USA did pretty good this year. We got a whole bunch more wins than we have in the past, and we got 2 more medals. Kellyanne added to her gigantic trophy case, got women's heavyweight silver this year, and our women's team got bronze again, second time in a row. Upcoming
Congratulations,
tournaments.
U.S. women.
Yes, and we will be doing a podcast about Worlds at some point. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Everybody's busy, but that's okay. Upcoming tournaments on the 12th of October, we have the Beer City Open in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and the Olympia Sumo Championship in Las Vegas. So there's a lot coming up there. Let's see. Also in October, on the 26th of October, down in Austin, Texas, I will be going to the Consulates Cup, hosted by Dark Circle Sumo. Always an excellent show. One of my favorite after parties, as usual. That's something that will drag me to almost any tournament. But lots coming up this fall, and new newsletter out at the end of October.
And before we dive into the results, the 2024 Grand Sumo Popularity Poll is live. It is posted. You can stop listening to this podcast right now. In fact, do that. Stop listening to this podcast. Go to Twitter, go to YouTube. If you're a patron, check out our Discord or the Patreon page. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on Instagram. Go vote for your favorite rickshi. Vote for your least favorite rickshi. This is the 6th year that we are running this. We're running this a basho earlier than we have in the previous years. Typically, we do it at the end of the year. But honestly, I need a little space between the two big projects of the year of the popularity poll and the award show. So the popularity poll will from now on and forever be after the Aki Basho. So this year is the start of the new time for the popularity poll. So go out, vote in it. We want to. December's way too busy.
It's way too busy.
So yeah, please vote in that. We want to get as many submissions as possible to find out who was the favorite rickshi from this past year and who was the most hated rickshi from this past year. I bet somebody that's going to be pretty high up the favorite polling this year is going to be none other than our Yusho winner from the Aki Basho. That is Sekiwake Ono Sato. I drive this bus for a reason, Jake. Finishing with a 13-2 record, his second career Yusho. We will get into all the accolades and all the records he's broken once again in just a moment. But Sekiwake for now. Very soon to be Ozeki for Ono Sato. We did have 2 June Yusho winners, another Sekiwake, this time Kirishima, showing that maybe this past year has been a fluke and he's ready to hop back up to that Ozeki rank, piling up a 12-3 record en route to his second career June Yusho. And we also have Maegashira 7 Waka Takakage showing that he is back from that ACL injury he suffered last year, also going 12-3 for his second career June Yusho. And then our special prize winners, no shock, Ono Sato collecting a couple of these as well. He picked up his 3rd career Gino Show Technique Prize, his 7th special prize overall. The Shukun Show Outstanding Performance Prize goes to Maegashira 7 Wakataka Kage, probably in large part due to his win over Ono Sato. That is his first career Outstanding Performance Prize, his 5th special prize overall, and our Kanto Show Fighting Spirit Prize. Once again, Sekiwake Ono Sato with his 3rd career Fighting Spirit Prize, his 8th special prize overall. Just 5 basho, and Maegashira 13 Nishikigi getting his 1st career Kanto Show Fighting Spirit surprise, his 2nd overall in like his 40th or 45th basho. Now I need to look up.
Can I just say that was the best Freudian slip I've ever heard?
What did I say? I have no idea what I said.
You said his it was like his 1st career Fighting Spirit surprise.
Oh. It was a surprise to all of us who saw this 11-4 record coming from Nishikigi. He looked like he was on his way out to Juryo.
And who saw that earning a prize.
Yeah. Not the true believers. Not the true believers of the cult of Nishikigi this whole time.
Hey,
they are not surprised at all.
The Eater of Worlds was back and in form this basho, so good job, Nishikigi. His 39th Makuuchi basho, so I wasn't too far off when I said 40.
And his 38 millionth total basho, right?
Failing to capture a special prize, a Jun Yusho, Kimboji, or any sort of accolade to his name in his 42nd career top division basho is Kagayaki, who will be on a one-way express back to Juryo following his 3-12 record. Good riddance to Kagayaki. So let's talk up. It was nice having him back in the top division so that I can just dump on him some more. I'm so happy the popularity poll is live and he managed to make it up to the top division so I can slam him down with the least favorite vote. God, I'm going to have a tough time with least favorite because Oho exists. Ooh, I have some thinking I've got to do. I've got to make some difficult life choices.
Who do I hate for no reason more? Gono Yama's in there too.
Yeah, Gono Yama's in there.
Yeah, but
it just doesn't compare.
He's not doing well enough to be super hateable, right? Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm happy for you, Ryan, that you have choices.
Thank you. I appreciate that somebody understands the hardship I will be going through.
Oh, poor guy.
So our Yusho race not a whole lot of a Yusho race here. It was fairly drama-free coronation of Ono Sato. He led from wire to wire. He started off the Basho 11-0 before picking up his first loss on day 12 to Wakataka Kage, and then he would go on to win his next 2 matches, wrapping up with 13 wins after day 14, which put him 2 wins clear of his next closest competition. So day 15 was basically just an exhibition to see who would get their Kachikoshi, Makekoshi, and have some people fighting to stay out of Juryo. He would go on to lose to Abi in that match, which was a little disappointing and anticlimactic, but in the end, didn't really matter. So this is the first day 14 clinch since Teruno Fuji in May of last year. So it's been a little bit since we've had somebody out so far that they could win the Yusho before day 15 even came around.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and I'm looking back on it, and by day 5, everybody else had a loss. Like he was in the lead on our midway, and I think I'm pretty sure we unanimously agreed that he was most likely to win it. But by day 5, he was solely in the lead, and that was that.
yeah, even when he dropped his match on day 12, he was already 2 clear. So then he was 1 clear after day 12, and then the next day, day 13, he won, and everybody that was 1 win behind him lost. So he was already 2 clear again by the next day. There's no drama surrounding this Yusho whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a while since that's been the case, and that's kind of refreshing. It was dominant.
And he looked good. Like, I think that's part of the reason why it was never in question. Like, it wasn't kind of like where a couple iffy wins, although I think he did have one close one a little bit towards the end that went his direction, but
yeah,
actually, I have opinions about if that's the match I have. Let me check my notes.
Is that the Kotozakura one on day 14?
Yeah, the Kotozakura one. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about that Monoi at some point.
Yeah, we can talk about it right now.
Okay,
why not? So it was the closest to drama other than his one loss before day 15.
For sure. But just to finish up my point there, like, he just looked really good the entire time, completely dominant, never in doubt that he was probably going to win the entire thing. But yeah, that match versus Koto Zakura, when they both kind of kept out. Ono Sato jumped out, but when Koto Zakura was falling, but he kept his foot down at the same time. I feel like that Koto Zakura was kind of robbed on that one. Normally, I'm a big fan of the Toriano Oshi to redo it, but I actually think, timing wise, in the rules I know of how the dead body is supposed to work and stuff, he kept his foot in the ring there the entire time, and by the time contact happened, Ono Sato had both his feet out of the ring. To me, that is clear. It was supposed to be Koto Zakura. I don't know about what you guys thought.
Yeah, if I'm remembering right, Ono Sato was airborne, and certainly airborne on his way out when Koto Zakura touched. But my memory was he was airborne, but not necessarily outside of the dohyo yet. And it was like so close. I don't know. This is one of the frustrating things about the dead body rule, that it's just not black and white, that you kind of have to just make a judgment call on which parts of the rule are more important. And
that's what makes it so infuriating.
Exactly. Like, I don't know, if you're not gonna have like a hard and fast rule that you stick to. I don't know. Every Western fan has had one or two of these matches in their time following sumo where they're like, I don't quite agree, or I don't quite understand how that rule is supposed to function. But this time, I personally thought it was close enough that a rematch was the right call. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna complain about the rematch. It's just, you're right. There doesn't seem to be the consistency always there, which is very frustrating. But when I was reading through the dead body rule, like on the Japanese Wikipedia, I was just plugging into Deep L Translate and trying to figure stuff out. They definitely mentioned like having like a foot down is kind of one of the important parts of the whole entire thing. So I don't know.
We've definitely seen it.
It just feels like there was 2 people. This is really close. You want to see another one, even though to me, I will say it was obvious going in slow motion, which is the Gyoji. I don't blame him for not figuring that out during the moment. But I don't know, judges. You can do it in the slow motion. If it's clear and obvious, like I thought, I feel like you should be consistent.
Sure. My personal opinion, I thought Tori Naoshi was fine. I do think it was close to the side of like Onosato maybe being out, but I had no issue with the Tori Naoshi. Now the controversy, I don't know if you guys have seen any of this. The real controversy from that match is, did Onosato's hand actually touch the ground right before he hopped out, which would have made it a very clear victory for Koto
I totally
Sakura.
missed that one.
Oh.
I haven't seen like any clear great angles to show that his hand actually did touch, but I know there are some people out there upset that are positive that his hand touched. I haven't seen any good angles of it, but yeah, so there's a little bit of controversy in that match. But
I love how me and Flarek both of our heads like turned away from our primary screen as we were looking for the video.
yeah,
Did we do that synchronized?
But yeah,
I don't know.
otherwise,
Let's just take a break and rewatch this match.
Yeah, we'll come back in 5 here.
No, go ahead, Ryan.
But other than that, I mean, the rematch there was 100% Onosato. Koto Sakura had nothing to offer, much like he had nothing to offer in the second week of the Basho, finishing with an 8-7 record.
Don't talk about my champ that way.
Hey, you almost lost for a reason, Jake.
Oh my God, I came so close to blowing it.
But let's move back to Onosato and kind of talk about some of the history that he is setting as doing things for the first time in sumo history. So he has won his second top division Yusho in his 9th career Basho. This is a man that started in Grand Sumo a year and a half ago, and he has since won 2 of the top division Yushos. He has won 2 Yusho before anybody else had won their first, which was Takeru Fuji earlier this year when he won it in his 10th. And then if you're comparing Onosato, well, it's not fair to compare Onosato against people that came from the bottom division. Actually, it wouldn't be fair to compare Takeru Fuji to Onosato. But if you compare Onosato to other Makushita Tsukedashis, he's won 2 in 9 before the first. Wajima won his in 14 or 16 Basho. So he's just shattering these records. He has the fastest rise to the rank of Ozeki, and he will be promoted to Ozeki.
Oh, yeah, we hadn't covered that yet.
The benchmark was set by the JSA prior to the Basho. Get 12 wins, look strong, move forward in doing so. You'll be promoted. He got 13. As we talked about, he looked strong. He looked good doing so. Yes. No reason he shouldn't be promoted to Ozeki following this Basho. And that would be the fastest rise to Ozeki from a Rikishi's Grand Sumo debut, which once again, just 9 Bashos, breaking the previous record of 12 Bashos. And he also has the fastest rise to Ozeki from somebody's Makuuchi debut, which is just 5 tournaments, breaking Taiho's record of 6 tournaments. He has the most consecutive Bashos with a special prize from your Makuuchi debut, with 5 consecutive tournaments winning a special prize from his Makuuchi debut. And probably the only reason he's not going to win anymore is because Ozeki are ineligible.
In the Basho, so like, let's say that he stays in Ozeki for a long time. I mean, I kind of expect that, but like, let's just pretend that for now that's assured.
I don't expect him to be Ozeki for a long time.
Okay, fair
I think
point.
he's going to be at Ozeki for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. So let's say that he will never be below Ozeki again. Like if we assume that means that he has a career record of 1.6 special prizes per Basho that he was eligible for any. That's nonsense. That's so stupid.
And even if he were to drop from Ozeki for maybe injury reasons, like Kirishima did, Kirishima went 12-3 and got the Jun Yusho. No special prizes for him. It seems like if you drop from Ozeki, you might have a very tough bar to clear to win any special prizes. If you're going to win any, I'd be interested to see if any ex-Ozeki has ever won a special prize in the past. Talking about special prizes, those 8 special prizes that he's won in 5 Basho are the most in a Rikishi's first 5 Basho. He also has the most wins in the modern era since 1958 in the first 5 Basho from your Makuuchi debut with 56. Second place for that record is Hakuho, and third place for that record is Taiho, the 2 Rikishi with the most Yusho of all time. And Onosato has outpaced them in this singular, very cherry-picked metric.
It's still a hell of a group to be running with.
Takayasu has 3 special prizes since he lost Ozeki.
Okay.
I know you've already done these stats, but if you ever feel like running more stats, which I know you always hate doing that.
Never get tired of running stats.
I would love a comparison of age rather than number of bashos. 'Cause I think that
Yeah,
might
for
be
sure.
more
By
fair
age,
comparison.
he is definitely trailing Hakuho. I think Hakuho was Ozeki or maybe even Yokozuna by 22, and he
Okay.
was winning his U shows by 22. Like at this point, when Hakuho was 24, he might have already had like 7, 8, 9, 10 U show under his belt. So
I'll go
by
look that up real quick.
yeah, by
Mhm.
age, he is definitely lagging behind Hakuho. And as I say, every time we bring up Hakuho, do not use Hakuho as a measuring stick.
Do not do it.
But here I was kind of using Hakuho as a measuring stick, talking about the most wins in your first 5 tournaments. But yeah, I said it back in, kind of said it jokingly, but I'm saying it less jokingly now. Ono Sato back in May won his first U show of a minimum of 20 in my mind.
Yeah. And thinking more is like there's very possible he could have been winning Bashos if he was in sumo at
Yeah.
22 as well.
It's true.
So it's definitely not a good completely good comparison like before, but I love that context though. Thank you for the info.
Yeah, because he's 24 now. He definitely got a bit of a late start by staying in university as long as he did. But maybe staying in the university as long as he did was what got him to the level where he was able to come into Grand Sumo right away and be the one of, if not the top guy in all of Grand Sumo instantly.
I actually have a tangent on that one. I'll let you go first, Jake, but I would love to jump off of that one.
Yeah, mine's real quick. Hakuho, by the time that he was 24 years old and 4 months, had 10 U show in the top division and had been an Ozeki for a year. Sorry, had been a Yokozuna for a year.
Jeez, what a freak.
Yeah, so do not do that. Do not compare Hakuho. But yeah, point stands. Ono Sato is like literally as impressive as it gets here. This is nuts. Go ahead, Flair.
Yeah. So on the Ono Sato being in college, Rikishi, a thought I was thinking of as I was watching these matches is like so typical like Rikishi, if they enter in like maybe 16 or so, like one that's the youngest or so that you can actually enter a Heya. And then they get like one coach and maybe there's a couple other coaches in the Heya. And then maybe they travel to some other Heias in their Ichiman to get training. But for the most part, it's kind of this one core group of coaches that's they're the ones kind of teaching them the entire time as they kind of go up and develop in sumo. In college sumo, you have the high school coaches, which probably also the 16-year-old might have had that as well if he went to high school. But then like you go into college, you get another kind of set of coaches to give you like another perspective to maybe increase like your style of sumo, what you want to do. And then finally, when you get into like pro sumo, you get another set of eyes to be able to do some stuff as well. I think just the different types of coaching that are available if you go through the college system might be a good advantage compared to starting from pro sumo from the beginning.
Yeah, there's definitely trade-offs too. Sorry. What I was going to say on that was the trade-off being you may have more coaches, but like if you start in a Heya at 15, you are doing sumo every day for like however many hours every single morning doing nothing else but sumo. Whereas if you go to university, you've got classes and like maybe that's sorry, not maybe. I would definitely argue that is definitely better for like, a human psyche long term, to be more well-rounded than just do sumo every day since you're 15. But, maybe that takes away from your ability for just pure sumoing. So there's definitely trade-offs of all sorts. There's also the potential benefit of Ono Sato, when he was in amateur sumo, went against the best in the world that were not in pros, in the pro league. So like, the best Eastern European guys, best Egyptians and everybody else that might expose him to more stylistic options. But at the same time, I don't really see anything outside of pure sumo in his style. So I don't know if that's a good argument or not. Yeah, I don't know. Plenty of pros and cons, but it's certainly an interesting puzzle to ponder.
Yeah. Doesn't hurt when you're that big and you're that fast at the same time.
Yeah, pure like that's just the cheat code for every sport is just be a bigger, better athlete than everyone else, right? So like certainly it's working out great.
Yeah, we can break down like, well, how beneficial was university as opposed to starting at 15? What could these all be? In the end, if he wasn't as big as he was and as fast as he was, none of it would matter.
That's
Some of it would matter, but a lot of it's
true.
just coming from his natural abilities and size.
Yeah. But counterpoint, look at Shima no Umi, who's also quite the unit as well. And he's probably struggling with some injuries at the moment, but he
Shonan
obviously
no
can't
Umi?
yeah, that's that person.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and he can't put it together with his size, so it's not completely just being an athlete is good, but there's other equation. Hey, Mac, I just want to hear you talk. Can you say something?
Look at him try and conserve that limited voice.
Oh, look at that, just shaking of his head. Okay.
Very interesting technique Mac is going for on this audio adventure we are currently on.
This audio medium that we employ, Mac is certainly bringing his A game.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
He's here for moral support.
You're welcome.
He's here to nod and gesture enthusiastically for us.
Yes. So, Jake, Onosato has won his second out of 3 Bashos. He got 13 wins. He looked dominant. He beat Kotozakura. He beat Hoshoryu. He beat Kirishima. He's beaten Terunofuji the last 2 times that he fought Terunofuji, even when Terunofuji won a Yusho last Basho. Can we definitively say now that Onosato is the top Rikishi in Grand Sumo? And besides Terunofuji, that's its whole thing. But is Onosato the best other Rikishi right now? If not the best.
Well, he will be ranked the 3rd of 3 Ozeki next time. So I don't know how much you can be positive about him. No, new Ozekis are always ranked the last Ozeki, despite him beating the tar out of both of the current ones. Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, as always, there's the asterisk of health that is so much of a big deal in sumo, even more so compared to other sports, I think. But like, yeah, but that asterisk is on everybody. Everybody's dealing with some injury or other. Everybody, if they're healthy, has a certain ceiling. And yeah, Onosato's ceiling is higher than anybody. Terunofuji has a bigger asterisk than anybody else when it comes to health. But like, if both these guys enter the Basho next time, I'd probably give them even odds against each other.
Yeah. And for me, in my head, like Terunofuji, Onosato, 1, 2, whatever order you want to put them in, I don't think that's really arguable. In my mind, number 3 might be down in Juryo right now in Takeru Fuji. We'll see. We haven't really seen him tested against the big boys consistently enough to probably say it, but he's probably not too far out of that conversation because he was back to doing Takeru Fuji things down in Juryo this Basho. And even though he was ranked Juryo 11 with his 13-2 record and how the promotion demotion scene is looking down there, I think we can expect to see Takeru Fuji back in the top division come November.
I agree with that. I think a clear number 3 is still Kotozakura. 8 and 7 is a blip, but like we can't pretend that negates the prior year where he was like by far the most consistent and best guy. Sorry, not by far the best guy. I'm not going to pretend that he's better than Terunofuji, but he has consistency in spades. And this 8, this is the fewest wins he's gotten since May of 23. He's okay. There's definitely some troubling stuff this Basho where like he couldn't keep it together in week 2, but like everybody's got an off day at the office, you know. I still would rank him number 3 long term.
Yeah. Fleric, Mac, any other opinions on Onosato? I mean, or is it just as clear as it seems? He's just the top guy as if Terunofuji's not around.
I'm convinced after seeing this Basho. Like I saw there was like the big one was versus Hoshoryu. Still it's like granted just one day at that point, but he adapted. He just beat him at the Tachiai and kept him away from the belt, and he just took him down.
Turns out a big fat hand to somebody's neck does a real good job of keeping them away from your belt and throwing you.
It does. Yeah, funnily enough, it definitely does. So yeah, no. I'm just convinced. I think he's probably the best, and I would love to see him against Terunofuji. I want to see more of him.
I had one other, or sorry, go ahead, Mac.
I was going to say I'm most excited to see how he fares against Terunofuji in the future, because I think this could be a fun rivalry, just depending on how long Terunofuji can withstand all of his health issues. I think they could build up a lot of fun matches there, and I'm excited to see how much more Onosato can continue to develop his sumo, because he's still young. He's still figuring everything out. I mean, even
for sure,
with his match against Wakataka Kage, that was a great match. It went back and forth. By rights, he had him, but Wakataka Kage pulled a move at the edge of the Tawara. So I want to see more close matches just like that, except I want to see that Terunofuji power coming from Onosato. So it's like, I want more matches from Onosato, but definitely he's top dog right now.
So the last thing I wanted to say on Onosato is, I'm curious if the YDC, if Onosato, as we all probably expect, is up for a Yokozuna promotion in the near future, whether that is 6 months, a year, 2 years, or something like that. Would it be fair to say we all kind of expect him to be in that conversation pretty quick here? I would be curious if they make any comments about his hinkaku, or his like dignity in the ring. I'm not saying that he like misbehaves or anything, or he does anything like somewhat provocative the way that Hakuho would sometimes like gently stick a toe over the line just to like kind of be a little bit of a stirrer. But for Onosato, I think it's kind of funny how I've mentioned in the past how Koto Zakura seems to have like that perfect poise. He's always like totally neutral, and he always feels in control, or always appears to be in control.
Except for his windups when he's first starting, and
except for that silly like eyebrow thing. Yeah, that's okay.
The eyebrow
hilarious.
glare. I'm
yes.
like, ooh.
I had not really noticed that much before this Basho, just because of the coverage I was watching. But yeah, the eyebrow, I love it. But Koto Zakura never celebrates after a win. You couldn't tell if he won or lost based on his face. Onosato looks like he might be there for the first time each day. He always, to me, has like a little bit of a vibe of like, okay, we're throwing salt now. All right, I guess I'll grab, I'll grab a handful, and whoop, yeah, there you go. Check that out. Okay. Oh, I won. All right, cool. Let me waltz back over to my corner and do. Like there's just a little bit of like, a little bit less of that like completely impenetrable stoicism that you see from somebody like Koto Zakura. And I don't expect that to hold him back from a Yokozuna promotion if he earned it, but I'd be curious if the YDC, like, how they make their snarky old stodgy man comments, right? Like, I'd be curious if they ever make one of those about him.
I feel like Ozeki is the time to get that like really stoic, I am a badass kind of personality. Like we see with Hoshoryu, and
he came in with
Hoshoryu does not have that.
no, I mean like in the sense like I'm a badass, like I'm going to definitely, maybe not the stoicism like I have no emotions.
I see what you mean.
No, I was just going in with the I'm the badass trope, and just be like, no, haha, I'm going to win.
Yeah, like I've been here before kind of thing.
Hoshoryu has that in spades, but I don't think he has like, Hoshoryu would be more of like the Hakuho train of thought, where it's like, hey, you gotta like chill out, man. You can't be like this like alpha dude bro, like celebrating all your out muscling of your opponents. And whereas Onosato, it's like, come on, man, don't look confused. Like, just I don't know. I'm interested to see if that ever becomes a topic with him, or if he kind of mellows out to that more smooth Koto Zakura style of emotion.
Let me remind you, 9th Basho.
Yeah. Not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm curious if it gets to the point where that becomes a topic of conversation, because it would be interesting and novel, not because I think that he doesn't deserve things because of that or what have you.
So speaking of Onosato and the YDC, we do have the comments for the YDC from this Basho for Onosato. They had very enthusiastic praises. He shows no hesitation, unshakable, unbreakable. We have high hopes for him. We hope to see him contending with the other Ozeki, the other Ozeki contending, and the Yokozuna for the U Show next Basho. So
Dang
as
straight.
of now, gold stars across the board for Onosato. While we're on the subject of the YDC, I do want to just go through their other comments while we're here.
Before you do, I just want to count out how you think he can't even compete against the other Ozeki. Other Ozeki can't even compete with them. It's one Basho, man.
It is one Basho. You're right.
Point to me all the Ozeki U shows we've had this year during Terunofuji's absences.
Yep, fair.
It's more than one Basho.
But Hoshoryu has put him on his ass 3 times out of 4. So
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know.
Like the head-to-head.
It's
The
not a done
head-to-head-
deal. It's not
The
a done
head-to-head,
deal.
fine, but once again,
Yeah.
point to the Ozeki U show this year, while Terunofuji's been absent 3 out of 5 tournaments.
Whatever.
Ah, dang. I was gonna say Takakeisho, but that was last year.
Yeah, and Kirishima.
And Kirishima
even
was last year.
Sooner
Damn.
than that. but
Okay,
yeah.
you're right.
So yeah, YDC comments about Terunofuji. Too bad about the Kyujo, but they got word that he will participate in the Aki Jungyo, and they hope the Yokozuna will practice enough to be able to make a comeback next Basho, and they'll keep a watchful eye. So it does sound like they want Terunofuji for Kyushu, and they also had comments about Takakeisho, who, as we will get to, is in fact retiring after a long bout with neck injury that never would go away. They said he represented the new generation of Oshizumo. He brought with him great hopes for the future of sumo. Because of his injuries, he could not fulfill his true potential, but we are hoping to see him bring up new Rikishi as Minatogawa Oyakata.
Miyatagawa Oyakata.
Yep. So yeah, that's what the YDC has to say. I'm surprised we didn't get really any comments about Kotozakura and Hoshoryu, their kind of rough performance this Basho. So talking a little bit more about them, Kotozakura lost 4 of his final 5 matches to end at 8-7, and Hoshoryu struggled throughout the tournament and clinched his 8th win in the final match of the Basho, beating Kotozakura to get his 8th win.
So in this case, they still got their 8 wins, which is good because they retained their rank as Ozeki. But as we've defined in the past, that's barely a passing grade as an Ozeki. An Ozeki should be getting like 9 and 10 wins per tournament, right? I mean, that's kind of the standard for an Ozeki, right? Did we talk
the
about that?
expectation for Ozeki and Yokozuna are the championship ranks. The expectation for an Ozeki, if the Yokozuna is absent, they should be contending for Yushos. And obviously Kotozakura and Hoshoryu were far from able to do that this Basho. Both of them eliminated fairly early on from any Yusho contention. Now, both of them did come into the Basho with a little bit of injuries nagging at them. Kotozakura, I believe, had something with an ankle bothering him, maybe a little bit of a lower back during the Jungyo, and Hoshoryu was coming off of that hip injury that he had at the end of the last Basho. So hopefully it was just injuries keeping them down. I'd like to believe that that's what it is, because we've seen both of these guys have been fairly consistent 10, 11 wins over the past year or so. So it does seem like this is a bit of a blip for them, but it's still disappointing to once again have a Yokozuna-less field, and our Ozeki are still unable to contend for the titles, especially when we've had Kirishima drop from the rank this year. We've had Takakeisho drop and retire from the rank this year. So to see Hoshoryu and Kotozakura both stringing along their Ozeki status to the very end of the Basho was a little bit nerve-wracking, but I'm happy that they both got there. We don't have to worry about any Ozeki shenanigans in the November tournament. So let's talk about our dear battle hamster Takakeisho, who has finally called it a career. Tim Sumo on Twitter always puts out a good Twitter post for the people that are the top division Rikishi that are retiring, and I'm just pulling some stats from his Twitter post. But he had 4 Yusho, 8 Jun Yusho, 30 Basho as an Ozeki. That is 6 years as an Ozeki. 5 years as an Ozeki, 7 special prizes, 3 Kinboshi, 205 Oshidashi, 9 Yorikiri, and 0 Uwatenages.
That's my boy.
Yep. He was the second youngest since 1925 to retire among Rikishis whose highest rank was Ozeki. So very much an outlier for his age and where he's retiring for somebody who had the success that he had in his career.
To give some context of those stats of Kimarite, Oshidashi and Yorikiri are kind of like force outs with the arms. Watanage's, that's kind of like a belt move to finish it. That's very, very common. And the fact that he has 0 is amazing. And
Yes.
It's actually kind of really funny. And
Yeah.
just speaks to like his very big Oshi style that he does, pushing style that he does.
Honestly shocked that he almost got to double-digit Yorikiri. because that's a belt force out. So surprised he almost made it to double digits.
Yeah, I'm trying to look back to there's only one other non-Yokozuna I'm 50 years back, and at this point there might be one or two others, but I'm still looking for it. I'm trying to find, is there anybody else that made Ozeki but didn't make Yokozuna that had this many Yusho? There's only one that I can find, and
Kaio.
Longtime listeners or sumo historians know of Kaio, who is only a non-Yokozuna due to Asashoryu and Hakuho being in the same era. Takakeisho might be one of those guys where, if Hakuho and Teruno Fuji didn't come along and be generational talents, he very well could be there. It looks like, I'm back to like the 20s and there's nobody. Like I think Kaio is the only other non-Yokozuna in the last 100 years that I'd put ahead of Takakeisho. He's a spectacular athlete, incredible career, and I was always kind of bummed how his style of sumo, people would mention that as some sort of detraction against him, and yet he continued to win these Yusho and toss everybody around. Like, I don't know. I think that the pushing style of sumo gets looked down on in general in sumo, and I think
he made it such an art. I felt like
he had like
his
three
style
moves,
of pushing,
and just the timing of it, he made it work so great.
Yeah. Like if he didn't immediately force you out with like his impeccably timed thrusts to like catch you at just the right moment and push you back, then he was going to wait for that counterattack. He knew when you were coming, he was going to step to the side, slap you down. Those were the two moves of Takakeisho. That's what I could think of. And he had it down to such an art form while he was healthy. Obviously, these past few years, last year, he was able to snag 2 Yusho, and to get 2 Yusho in a year for him was amazing because his other ones had been fairly spread out. But to get 2 Yusho last year was great for him. But even last year, you could tell that he was kind of on this downward trend, that ever since he had that fateful match with Ichinojo, where he just kind of rammed his head into the chest of Ichinojo, and like after the match was over, like he was kind of like on the side of the dojo and like trying to push himself up, and he just couldn't. It was an uncomfortable thing to see. And ever since that moment, he really hasn't been able to have that same power, have that same timing that he had in his early part of his career before that match. But yeah, for us, like he was always one of our favorites. He was one of the first people besides Tochinoshin to be promoted to Ozeki while we were watching. He debuted in the top division in January of 2017, right when we were getting into sumo in earnest. So it's gonna be weird looking at a Bansuke with no Takakeisho on it, seeing the Ozeki rank with no Takakeisho, not being able to watch the battle hamster fight it out anymore. He as much as Onosato was blessed with a body for sumo, Takakeisho was not. And to see how far he was able to go with his short stature, his tiny arms, and make it all the way to Ozeki with his very specialized style of sumo that he probably had to do because of the body he was given, is just amazing. And very sad to see Takakeisho retiring here. This probably might be the retirement. Him and Tochinoshin probably hit the hardest, but Tochinoshin was kind of more a long time coming. I mean, Takakeisho is kind of a long time coming too, even for somebody that was 28. But just
I don't know. I felt like it was kind of a surprise because I don't know. It's both a surprise and not a surprise for this reason. But he had so many different injuries over the course of his career that it's another one. He'll come back soon and he'll be just as strong as ever because that's what he's done in the past a bunch of times. So to me, it really felt like it was only the last month or two that we'd even been talking about him being a candidate for retirement, with like seriously considering it. But it's one of those things in hindsight, it's like, of course he retired. Oh my God. Like he was dying, like all those injuries piling up. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it just goes to show that neck injuries, that's an injury it's hard to bounce back from.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Unless
the other big memorable one was when he tore his pectoral, right after he became Ozeki, and they had that picture of it all being black and blue, all around his chest and like shoulder and arm area. And like even, but that's muscular. Like he's young, he was able to bounce back from that. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But next, yeah, that's hard to mess with. It's hard to bounce back.
Yeah, it was a knee injury for him that right after he was promoted to Ozeki, he had a knee injury and he was unable to fight for a couple of Basho, and that's what dropped him down immediately. Like Flarik mentioned, he had that pec injury, he had the neck injury, so he's just been, unfortunately, even before his neck injury, he was always going Kyujo and popping back. So he's just been incredibly snake bitten, which not surprising seeing all the weight that was on that small frame of his. I mean, small, but relatively
short.
Short. There we go.
Yeah. He pulled out of 12 of his 30 Ozeki Basho. Like, yeah, that he was constantly injured. And it sucks because I've turned 30 before and I know how my body treated me for it. And he's not even there yet.
Hasn't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and I wasn't a sumo wrestler who was too injured to compete for, 5 years of my life. So I'm sad for his future physically because I mean, if he aged out of sumo by 28, like that's not going to be a fun next few decades either, right? I don't know.
No,
I'm hoping that getting rid of the regular, actual full speed matches in his life that'll certainly help. But like, man, he took a lot of beating.
yeah, I think hopefully his like issues with his neck is not too much chronic pain like every day. It's just like when he actually does try to do sumo, where it like ramming his head like into people's body. So hopefully, just like stopping doing that, he can mostly have a pretty good post career as a coach. But yeah, it's rough.
Day or so after Takakeisho officially announced his retirement, it was around day 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that range where he did finally announce his retirement. He pulled out day 3. It took him another 10 days to formally announce his retirement. But in his retirement press conference, he had a quote, "I'm burned out. I've run out of physical and mental energy to go for Yokozuna. I've reached for it as much as I could, but I couldn't get myself to be a Yokozuna. I felt it was about time to quit." So you could, just from that quote alone, I mean, you could tell that just the constant nagging injuries, the constant battling, trying to reach for the top brass ring of sumo just left him drained. And if he wasn't able to get his body in shape to make it up to Yokozuna, it wasn't worth going on and being a Maiga Shira for the next 3-4 years and just kind of going through the motions if you're not going to be able to get to the mountaintop.
Yeah.
Beyond maybe some records, he achieved everything in sumo. Like he got the Yushos, he got the highest rank. He was just a Basho away from getting Yokozuna a couple times. He did everything. He tried to just get the very last sling, but sports are hard, and not everyone can get to the top. So it's very
that's
sad,
what makes it special to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you don't have your Takakeishos, it's not going to feel special when you have your Kisei no Satos.
There you go. True. Yeah, and I think like I joke about it all the time, especially because it makes Ryan furious. But I think getting to Ozeki is kind of like the level of being in the Hall of Fame. Meaning Shodai is there along with Mitakiyumi. Kirishima is a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with this. But
they
like
got stone.
Yeah. That their names carved in stone at a Shinto shrine in Japan. We've been there. We've seen, well, we didn't see Shodai's name carved in stone. If we go back, we will though. So what I'm getting at though is that's mainly a joke because it so instantly gets under Ryan's skin. But like Takakeisho is about as Hall of Fame as you can get. Not everybody's the Yokozuna, not everybody's the Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, whatever. But like that's not the bar to be like in the Hall of Fame or whatever you consider that bar to be. Takakeisho's there.
Anybody else have any final thoughts on Takakeisho before we move on?
Yeah. I love the name Battle Hamster. I'm glad you brought that back up. It's
yeah.
And just like how Jake, you were kind of saying, like the Hall of Fame, I think the best part about Takakeisho is he was unique. Like he just definitely had his own style. he was not blessed with the body of Onosato. He's definitely a little bit on the shorter cannonball size, but he was making it work. He was taught by none other than Takanohana, that crazy bastard.
Yeah.
Whatever he taught him, like, it's like he was like, just make it work. Who knows? But he has such a story that's just fantastic. And I think the biggest thing that I remember is when Terunofuji just came back from injury and he was up there, he got back to Ozeki. He was neck and neck with him, and he was like in the discussion. He was the one person trying to stop Terunofuji from coming.
Yeah.
I think they had a couple of playoffs against each other, and I think they went 1-1 in playoffs.
There was like
each
a
other.
year where that was the rivalry. It was awesome.
Yeah,
100%. Like, he was just he was up there. He was the top of the top, and he was just so unique. And he was just the battle hamster that I'm also just very sad that he's gone. For me, it was time. I feel like maybe the last couple months was the most serious time to talk about his retirement, but we were kind of memeing about for probably this entire year.
Yeah.
Maybe not Hatsu, because I think that's when he had a chance to become Yokozuna, but it's especially watching him just the last couple of bashos, it was time. So I'm sad, but I can completely respect that to hang it up and call it quits.
Yeah. We certainly weren't expecting him to reach Tamawashi levels of longevity. He was gonna end earlier than most people, regardless, just based on those injuries. But to me, my last thought on him is I am utterly baffled and completely lost on what he's going to look like when he loses his sumo weight. I can't even conceive of him in a non-spherical body shape. Like,
honestly, I hope he's like Kisei no Sato and he just keeps his sumo body.
He somehow looks exactly the same. Yeah.
I can't imagine Takakeisho any other way, and I don't want to. I want him to be Battle Hamster forever.
Hakuho was never like that thick to like really have a huge amount of weight to lose. But Kisei no Sato, like, he's kind of going gradual and his face stays the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, Takakeisho, well, I have no clue. I have absolutely no idea what he's going to look like.
Yeah, just some quick hits on some other Ricky. I think we've covered the main topics here. The Kirishima, big step towards regaining Ozeki. It'll be interesting to see how they treat him with this 12 wins. Like, if he got 13 next Basho, would they take his 8, 12, and 13 as an Ozeki run, or would they want to see a little bit more, make it tougher for a former Ozeki to regain the rank? I know there is some precedent. I believe Miyabiyama back in the early 2000s lost his Ozeki rank, and he got very close, might have hit the requirements to get back to Ozeki, and they did not promote him. Maybe wanted to see a little bit more. So it'll be interesting with Kirishima, if he can keep up this hot streak, what it takes for him to get back to Ozeki. Anybody else have any thoughts on Kirishima this Basho? I think it was just nice to see him back in Kirishima form.
About damn time.
Yeah.
He lost to Onosato. Not a shock. He lost to Hoshoryu. Not a shock. I don't remember who that third loss was to, but he was looking pretty damn good this Basho. Looking at a couple of Sanyaku changes. We had 4 Sekiwake. We're going to lose 1 up to Ozeki, 1 to retirement. Kirishima will stay there, and then Abi went 5 and 10, is going to drop out of Sanyaku ranks, and so that's going to leave us with probably just 2 Sekiwake, back down to 2 Sekiwake. Kirishima will be there, likely Daisho joining him up there, as he had an 8-7 record from Komosubi, but then that leaves us with 2 open Komosubi slots, Wakamoto Haru to take 1, and then either Oho Shodai or Wakataka Kage for that final Komosubi slot.
Yeah, do you think there's any danger of Wakamoto Haru forcing open a 3rd Sekiwake slot with 11 wins from Maegashira 3?
No, I think Wakamoto Haru is getting the first Komosubi slot, and then it's a fight between Oho Shodai and Wakataka Kage for that second one. But none of those guys would have a resume to open up a 3rd. So I think it's just going to be a battle between those 3 for that second spot. And honestly, I have no idea which way they're going to go.
Yeah, we'll certainly have our Bansuke episode on it, but it's going to be weird to be back at 2 Sekiwake for the first time in a while.
2 Sekiwake, 2 Komosubi, 3 Ozeki, and a Yokozuna. We're going to be Back to having a Maegashira 17 West. Our Sanyaku
Oh yeah.
ranks are shrinking by 1 with the retirement of Takakeisho. So Bansuke is going to go back down to Maegashira 17 West for the first time since like January or November or something like that. Let's talk a little bit about Takayasu. He did not quite have enough gas in the final 3 days to stay in contention, but he was looking like somebody for a while. If Onosato was to falter, he could jump in and possibly take the Yusho. He had like at the beginning of the Basho where he had 2 back-to-back losses where it looked like he just gave up. His body was in pain, but he came back after that, won at least 8 straight matches, but then kind of looked like the wear and tear caught up with him again in those final 3 days. Jake, you got any more thoughts on Takayasu this Basho?
Yeah, I mean, it never felt real for him to be in the running. I think, after those 2 losses, I was just waiting for the injuries to catch up. And yeah, it definitely seemed like in those later days that he wasn't feeling good. Like I think it was his loss to, was it maybe Kirishima? Like last or second to last day, he got up very gingerly, and it's like, yep, okay, we tweaked it again. It never really felt real for him to be in contention, but it was, I don't know. I might not ever see him in double digits again, so I'm certainly going to be happy about it.
Yeah. Holy Oshi battle. Him versus Hiradomi on day 12.
God, that was so beautiful.
Rad.
That's like one of those,
fantastic.
like if you were to show somebody sumo, just like have the waves of Supadi just constantly going. That was a beautiful match. I love that so much.
Yep, for sure.
Couple of other injuries during the Basho. Rikishi dropping out. Hokuto Fuji dropped out on day 11, only to return 3 days later on day 14 to win his final 2 matches and get his Kachikoshi. So not quite sure what forced Hokuto Fuji out for a few days, but he came back on a mission and he achieved success there.
Was that the guy? I was kind of blowing through not the sumo videos, but the person who said something about playing ping pong and like maybe tweaked his back or something.
I think that
joke?
was Nato Sumo's like joke commentary about himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I never watched a guy, but Kitami
That sarcasm, doesn't come across
Kitami
well.
is in Japan right now.
If there's
so.
one thing I don't like about the Nato Sumo videos, it's like the beginning commentary most of the time.
Oh, okay.
I honestly, I don't
damn
know.
it, does he
Skip
put
it.
together a good highlight package?
All right, you guys done talking?
Maybe.
Okay. But yeah, with like Tamiyama in Japan, I definitely missed him on the second half of the Basho. So
yeah.
Very, very sad. But I'm glad that his videos were there to do it. So but I guess if that's jokey, that's kind of lame. But well.
Yeah. And then another Rikishi that dropped out towards the end of the Basho. One of the main reasons that Fleric has to refer to me as
Yokozuna Ryan, who still sings songs even though he won.
It's fun for me.
Just to rub it in.
Yeah. Shiro Kuma, Fleric's champ, dropped out on day 13 after achieving only 4 wins. And he's going to be dropping back down to Juryo, finishing with a 4-11 record for Maegashira 16. Before we talk about all of the lower division Yusho winners, is there anybody who we need to talk about that I have not talked about yet? What are our thoughts on Oho this Basho, putting together a 9-6 Basho? He beat both of the Ozekis, getting a big thumbs up from Mac. What are our thoughts on Oho right now?
Looking legit.
But Jake, I mean, like just like 8-7 was a blip for the Ozeki, could this 9-6 just be a blip for Oho?
Yeah, could be. I don't think it is. No, 24-year-old holding his own in the top 2 Maegashira ranks. 100% legit. This was a great showing. Clearly his best Basho ever. Especially beating both of the Ozeki on back-to-back days. That's nuts.
Well, him beating Hoshoryu is nothing new. Like he has a staggeringly good record against Hoshoryu for some reason.
They're 5-2 in Oho's favor. That's good, but that's not like
for somebody that is facing a Yusho winning Ozeki and somebody that's been Maegashira his entire career. It shouldn't be that lopsided in favor of the Maegashira.
Yeah, I don't know. If it was like 8-0, you know, maybe I'd think more of it. But like, I don't know. He's just got that one particular guy's number. But yeah, I mean, he's putting it together. He's still on like a very if he weren't constantly being compared to his grandfather and to Hoshoryu, who he debuted alongside, that's a perfectly respectable track that he's on. So I don't know. Good for him.
I have notes that his day 11 match against Takanosha was pretty intense. So
It was, yeah, I remember that one. That's one he kept trying to slap Takanosha down, and Takanosha would not go down, and it became just like a prolonged battle between the two of them until eventually Takanosha just couldn't go anymore.
Yeah.
And Oho just like could have blown on him, and he would have flown out the dojo at that point. But yeah, that was an interesting match to watch because Oho just kept trying to slap him down. Takanosha wasn't going down, but Takanosha also couldn't do anything to Oho, really.
Yeah,
but I think
so. Yeah, he's thrown out some pretty good matches now. So it looks like this is his highest rank, and he got a winning record. So
he could be Sanyaku next Basho. And I think for me, the reason why, even though he was a wee baby at 22, 23 years old, the reason why I had kind of been like, yeah, I'm not buying into any of this Oho stuff is because he would get pushed to the Tawara and kind of like Ichinojo would just like, all right, you got me. I'll leave. Sure. You win. Like he just had a defeated attitude about him. And that was completely gone this Basho. He had the fire. He got pushed to the Tawara. He had defenses. He had the fire to turn it around and turn it into a win for himself. So that kind of like defeated attitude that Oho had in the past was completely gone this Basho. And we'll see if he can keep it going for multiple Basho.
That's for a second, I thought you were complaining that he was giving up on Tawara, but then you're like, oh, here's Ryan complaining about Oho again. But no, I'll give you credit. You're giving him credit for what he's doing this Basho. So,
I mean, yeah. I can't just lie about what I've seen. Ooh, I could just lie about what I've been seeing. I can't believe so many people intentionally lost to Oho to make him seem good. How do I spin
keep swinging?
I'll work on it.
I got one more note for just some Makuuchi fun facts here. From our aforementioned renewed patron William. Thank you for some extra fun facts here. We have had a bunch more retirements in the last couple of years. More than I think I had really noticed. So of the 42 Rikishi that were in Makuuchi when Hakuho retired in Nagoya of July of 2021, 11 have retired. Like a full-on fourth of the field have retired since then. Yeah, and there are currently only 20 Rikishi active that ever faced Hakuho, which I would have guessed it's more. But yeah, you look down the Bansuke and yeah, quite a few of these names are new in the last 3-ish years here. And let's see, 3 other names here: Taiho, Kitanomi, and Chino Fuji are probably the 3 other names on like Mount Rushmore with Hakuho. Each of those 3 guys lasted longer than the next 2 Rikishi to be promoted to Yokozuna after them. Only Hakuho has outlasted the next 3 Yokozuna to be promoted after him.
So they were promoted to Yokozuna, then like 2 other Rikishi were subsequently promoted to Yokozuna, but they outlasted those other 2.
Yes, and Hakuho was promoted to Yokozuna and outlasted Haruma Fuji, Kakaryu, and Kisano Sato. Only guy to do that. What's up, Flair?
That's an interesting stat where the biggest thing that comes to my mind is there's a lot more turnover on the Bansuke than I realize.
Yep.
It's I'll be I have another stat for you, Ryan, if you ever feel like looking
numbers.
What's the average like number of Basho for a Rikishi and Makuuchi? Granted, there are a couple who are just very, very long. They stick around for Bashos and Bashos. Like, and they might not be the best, but people like Takaro Fuji, people like Mitaki Yumi, who are probably the outliers. But the people who just kind of jump up for a while and then kind of just go back to Juryo and just hang out there and probably fizzle out. Sure. I'd be curious what the length of Basho is for that.
Like, well, Sumo DB is down, so I can't help you right now.
Well, I've actually got it pulled up, and I know the query I can run. I just need to export the data to a spreadsheet so I can just do like an average of it, and I could tell you.
You're good at Sumo DB. We get it.
I'm getting better. I'm trying. Any other Rikishi? Any other top division Rikishi we want to talk about?
Ooh, Mac is going to speak.
I want to. He's not quite in Makuuchi yet, but if the sumo gods are nice, Shishi could be joining the lower ranks. 9-6 from Juryo 2 or 3.
Yeah, you don't need the help from the sumo gods. He's up. He's in Makuuchi next battle, my friend.
So
That'll be
well
great.
done, Shishi. You made it, buddy. You lost to Takara Fuji, asshole, but that's okay.
Shishi, yeah, Juryo 2 is his highest rank. He's 27 years old, and he is the Ukrainian guy in Juryo. If you watch Juryo, he sticks out like a sore thumb.
Well, you can't quite say that because starting in Juryo next Basho, it's going to be another Ukrainian guy coming up from Makushita, Aonishiki.
So there will be one Ukrainian guy in Juryo. Yeah, like I said.
And I believe Aonishiki is going to be getting to Juryo one Basho faster than Takeru Fuji did. And we know Takeru Fuji got to the top division tied for the fastest ever. So we'll see if Aonishiki can do the same. He is 20 years old, and
his next Basho will be his 7th.
His next Basho will be his 7th, and he has gone a total of 38-4 in his career, never losing more than one match in a Basho so far in the lower divisions. We'll see what this young 20-year-old can do down in Juryo. But we might be seeing, we're seeing the rise of the Ukrainian Rikishi up here. We've got Shishi going to be in the top division. Aonishiki seems like he is well on his way to going up there as well. So we're going to have a couple of Ukrainians up in the upper ranks, and that'll be fun to see.
All right. It sounds like we're on quick hits. I just a couple things I noticed. I just want to get out of my system. Are Wakataka Kage and Gonoyama best buds? Because let me try to figure out the match. So there was a day where there was just a bunch of Henkas, right?
Oh yeah.
Which I think that was day 12, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So there was someone who I think it was Gonoyama went ahead and it's who was it?
Endo Henka Gonoyama, maybe?
Yeah, Endo Henka Gonoyama, and then Wakataka Kage the next day returned the favor with the Henka. Yeah, so
Wakataka Kage is like the Henka Batman. He will get revenge for anybody who's been wrongfully Henka. Because if we remember, I think it was July of last year where Hokuto Fuji was in the Yusho race, and I think Takakeisho Henka'd Hokuto Fuji while Hokuto Fuji was in the midst of the Yusho race. Next day, the next day or 2 days after, Wakataka Kage fought Takakeisho, and then he Henka'd Takakeisho. And that's like the only 2 times I've ever seen Wakataka Kage use a Henka. So he's like I said, he's the Henka Batman. He's out here avenging everybody. I know I said avenging Batman's DC. It doesn't quite work out all with the Marvel and DC of it all, but you know what? It works. Wakataka Kage is the Henka Batman.
That is a fun storyline that I'm going to jump onto. I
never Henka somebody the day before you're fighting Wakataka Kage.
I fear that his parents were Henka'd in a back alley somewhere as a young kid. The other thing I had was Ura and Tobizaru. When they faced off, I realized they have a very similar style of sumo, of where they have like a strong stance and they both kind of are leaning forward and kind of low. And
they're very much both reactive, waiting for somebody to make a move, and so they can like grab your arm or catch you in the right position to pull you down or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that to this Basho, but definitely a very reactive and very chaotic style. And it kind of makes sense because Tobizaru definitely is kind of up there with Ura, not as much, but he's definitely up there with a very chaotic style.
Yeah,
and yeah, other than that, it's nice to have Wakataka Kage back, despite being so hard to pronounce his name.
Of course.
All right. I feel like there were a couple other. Onokatsu 7-8 in his top division debut. Not great, but he'll be sticking around top division. Bushozan looked like he was going to be doing something for another Basho, and then he lost his last 10 matches to finish 4-11. it'll be interesting to see if he ends up down in Juryo. That's where things really start to get hinky at the bottom of the Makuuchi division for Bansuke predictions. Anybody else? Tamawashi did, I think we've covered it on Midway, but Tamawashi is now the sole record holder for most consecutive matches fought in sumo history. He has now fought in 1,643 consecutive matches.
Chura Naomi? Okay.
Sure. 10 and 5.
I guess.
Yeah.
Not going to pick him as my chump next time. Tell you that.
I learned my lesson his first basho in the top
Yep.
division. I've stayed away from him since.
Just some random 31-year-old showing up out of nowhere in the top division and being good. Okay, I guess.
Oh, and I don't think we've brought him up. Hira Umi going 7-8 from Komosubi. He will be dropping from Komosubi, but not very far. And still 7-8
Not for
in your
long
first.
either.
Yeah, 7-8 in your first Sanyaku basho. That's not bad. I fully expect him to be back up there.
Totally.
So before we drop down and talk about our lower division Yusho winners, remember to go and do the Grand Sumo Breakdown popularity poll. We have had it up for probably about an hour and a half at this point. We've got 136 responses already. So join your voice to those who have already voted.
Seriously.
Make sure that you vote for your favorite rickshaw. You vote for your least favorite rickshaw. The more data points, the better. It's up to 137 as I speak. So
Oh, that was me.
good.
No. No, I'll probably do it when you warn me that the time's running out.
I'll just tell you during a podcast. Make sure to tabulate the answers.
Submit for me. My favorite is what's his name?
Yeah, that guy. That
Yeah.
guy. Give him a vote. Yeah.
All right. Our lower division Yusho winners in Juryo. Takeru Fuji winning his second Juryo Yusho. He should be making his way back up to the top division, and may the sumo gods have mercy on the lower Maegashira ranks in November. Down in Makushita, I believe much to Jake's chagrin, the Yusho went to Hatsuyama. This
Could be
is
worse.
his first Makushita Yusho, his first lower division Yusho. He debuted in Sandanme in 2022 and has been in Makushita for over 2 consecutive years. And he was ranked at Maegashira, or not Maegashira, but Makushita 16, which puts him just outside the range that would have gotten him promoted to Juryo.
So first, Makushita Yusho, first lower division Yusho, and his name, Hatsuyama. That's First Mountain, right?
Could
Jake?
Yeah, because Hatsu is like first because it's the first basho, and Yama's mountain. So
I mean, you're probably right, but there's a limited number of syllables in Japanese, and just because it sounds the same does not mean that it means the same. I'll tell you that much.
I guess I get that, but
It does not have the same
chance.
kanji as Hatsu. It does not appear.
Oh, okay. That's confirmation. All right. Okay. I appreciate that.
In Sandanme, Kawazoe, a familiar name. This is his first career Sandanme Yusho and his first lower division Yusho. He's on his way back up the Bansuke after dropping out of Juryo 1 year ago. This is another one of those rikishi in the, I guess, the Isegahama Beya now, formerly before he was in Miyagino before that merged with Isegahama. He was a Makushita Tsukedashi, kind of another smaller guy, kind of in the vein of Midori Fuji Enho sort of guy. So Kawazoe's on his way back up. In Jonidan, we had Shimizu Umi. He is 23 years old. This is his first Jonidan Yusho, his second lower division Yusho, and his second career basho. He has a chance to join the 21-0 club next basho if he were to win the Sandanme Yusho. And down in Jonokuchi, we had Go Seizan, 19 years old, his first career Yusho, his first career basho, new Mongolian recruit of the former Goeido Takekuma. So with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have updates on the GSB belt, and we will have Jake's sumo erotica punishment.
Wait, my what?
If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at the GSB Belt. As Ryan mentioned, Hatsuyama frustrated me a little bit. Could have been worse. Could have been worse. That's what we got to look at. The winner's belt starts on a wrestler, and whoever beats that wrestler takes the belt, and then whoever beats that wrestler takes the belt, etc. And we see how long it takes to get from the very bottom of Jonakuchi all the way to the top of the top division. And let's see, the first time around we got lucky. The second time around we realized how hard it is for that belt to make the Makushita to Juryo leap. And this time it could have been worse. I'm going to keep saying that because it could have been worse. What keeps happening in Makushita is you get a bunch of guys that are like 5-0 that go against each other, then 6-0 that go against each other, and only one guy ends up 7-0. And very often that guy is like in the middle of Makushita and gets promoted to the top of Makushita, but not quite to Juryo. And this time around, we got kind of lucky. We got Hatsuyama, who, like we said, was ranked at 16 East, and him going 7-0 means that the belt is going to be at the very tippy top of Makushita. Not quite to Juryo, but very, very close. So we'll see. Maybe there's a chance that we can make it up there. But Hatsuyama, kind of a prospect here. He's 24. He's at the top of Makushita, as we mentioned. He's been in 16 Basho with only 3 Makekoshis. So pretty cool. If he goes 7-0, that'd be awesome. Please. Because then he would bring the belt up to the top division. My final bullet point here says acceptable. Now our loser's belt was the exact opposite. We started this at the same time, and we gave the belt to Teruno Fuji, and we said, all right, if Teruno Fuji beats a guy, the loser takes that belt, and then whoever loses to that guy next takes the belt, and we'll see how long the belt takes to go all the way down from Yokozuna to the very bottom. And this one, my final bullet point says exceptional. Because for this one, it started on Gonoyama, who lost it to Churanoumi, who lost it to Meisei for like 1,000,000 years. It was awesome. He lost it to Ichi Yamamoto. He lost it to Hokuto Fuji. And oh no, he went Kyujo. So for the 4th Basho in a row, in every single Basho that this loser's belt has existed, somebody who held the belt went Kyujo or something that ruined it. So the past 3 times what we did was we said, okay, well, that doesn't count then. Give it back to Ichi Yamamoto and he can keep it. We'll pretend that Hokuto Fuji thing didn't happen. And if that's the case, then the belt went to Ryuden for a couple days and then Bushozan. And Bushozan, as already mentioned, Maegashira 12 went 4-11. Ryan, that's guaranteed Juryo, right? Like that's gotta be all the way down.
I think Bushozan might stick around. I'm not sure yet, though.
but he will be at the very bottom.
He'll be close. Maybe like Makuuchi Juryo exchange. Oh my gosh, exchange match.
Get it together.
I don't know what happened there. Like my mouth literally froze trying to say exchange.
But yeah, so like he'll either be in Juryo or very, very bottom of Makuuchi, and that's coming from the best Bansuke guy. So that's saying something.
Very literally, they don't give those trophies out to nobody.
No, there's only one of them, and it was a joke from one person ever. So now here's the one tiny rub of this one. Hokuto Fuji did come back. So if we kept the belt on him, it would have bounced around a little bit and ended up on Tamawashi at the end of this Basho. Ryan, help me out with the Bansuke. Maegashira 10 went 7-8. Tamawashi, he's going to move down, somewhere between 0 and 2 ranks? Something like that?
Yeah, likely Maegashira 11.
Yeah, so Maegashira 11. Which, I mean, that's a bummer, but to be fair, it started at Maegashira 6 with Gonoyama. So, yeah, still progress.
It's going down.
It's going down. It's going down faster than the other ones coming up. But everybody, fingers crossed, Bushozan goes down to Juryo, because that's the one that we're sticking with as the official result. The Tamawashi thing, we've already established precedent that if you go Kyujo, we'll pretend it didn't happen and we'll leave the belt with the previous guy. So we can move on with that. Loser's belt on its way. Winner's belt, less so, but still acceptable.
I'm going to join probably all the fans that these belts cause more chaos and more frustration with you. Yeah. So I'm going to keep my fingers uncrossed that Bushozan stays around. Just so it kind of sticks around. Yeah.
What you would need for maximum chaos. I'm sorry, what was the end of that?
Now you continue to be frustrated. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, if that's your goal, I feel less bad for talking over you slightly there by accident. But what you would need then is for Bushozan to stay in the top division and beat just one guy that's higher ranked than him, and then have that guy beat just one guy that's higher ranked than him, and then the belt might climb back up. But we'll see what happens.
Let's go. I have a dream.
You have a dream.
All right, Flarek seems like in a good mood. Flarek, we're moving on to the champ chump results. I need more effusive praise from my Tsukebito, my very bad, naughty Tsukebito.
So naughty.
How not?
He's been a very, very bad boy.
Yeah. Oh, no, Yokozuna Ryan, you are definitely the best at picking sumo. You're the best at praising Oho. I actually was very, very impressed with the way you did that. You should do it more often. It just warmed the cockles of my
Don't
heart.
push it, Tsukebito.
Yes. Sumimasen. That's all I got. Your best Bonsuke guy. Give me
That's all I
time.
ever need to hear. That's all I
Okay.
ever need to hear.
Does anything other than your heart have cockles? And do they ever do anything other than be warmed? That just
blood.
Good question.
I don't know. That just seems like a very strange, old, archaic phrase that I don't know.
So a cockle is a medium-sized clam-like shell, rounded and domed with radiating ridges.
So all of the mollusks within my heart are slightly heated compared to where they were before.
It feeds by filtering
good to know.
plankton and other organic matter from the water. They're an important food source for shorebirds such as oyster catchers, the shore crab, and flatfish.
So if you say something that makes me happy, you have heated the mollusks within my organs. Thank you.
Yes. So
English is stupid.
I'm very tempted to start saying that phrase as that now.
Please do.
So how we got here is simple. All of our chumps sucked. I think all of our chumps had winning records.
Yep.
Nishiki
4 for 4.
Fuji went 8-7 for Flarek. Oho went 9-6 for me. Chura no Umi went 10-5, and Takara Fuji went 10-5. So probably an all-time bad chump selection for us when there are obvious candidates on the board, like Kagayaki, like Bushozan, like Shirokuma. Oh, no, wait. Flarek chose him as his champ, which is why Flarek is sitting here as the loser once again.
Oh, no.
Shiro.
And I had the foresight to, and was lucky enough to be the second pick, to choose Ono Sato. And that's why I won.
That's the only good pick of like all 8 of our picks, really.
Mac had Wakataka Kage. So
Oh, okay,
that was,
okay, you're right,
that was
you're right.
good as well.
That's good.
But yeah, so not a great performance by us overall. But you know what? A win's a win. I'm going to take it. I love winning.
Can I give
my
one
favorite.
tiny stat on how bad we did?
Sure.
So if we were to flip a coin and just pick completely at random, you would expect us to get a champ with roughly 7.5 wins and a chump with roughly 7.5 losses. So overall, that would be about 15 points each, or 15 total win-loss points for each of us, totaling 60. And if you only count the wins losses for us as a team, we got 61. So we got one, as professional guessers, we reached a grand total of 1 win over coin flippage.
Hey, I did my part. I had Ono Sato. You guys.
If you hadn't, we would have been below the coin.
And Mac had Wakataka Kage. Yes, Mac. Our mute
For those
of
not
this, once
benefiting-
again, audio medium.
For those not benefiting from the video stream, Max is just making many angry gestures.
It's all he has at
camera.
this point.
What we've been reduced to.
All right, so before we select Flarek's punishment for the next Basho, we also run a champ chump prediction game amongst our patrons. And this time, as every time, we had a winner and we had a loser. So, Jake, why don't you read the victory statement from our winner?
This comes from our dear friend, Zombie Mommy. who picked Ono Sato and I closed the tab. Kageyaki. Absolutely just spot on, beautiful picks. Well done.
I think probably
Zombie,
the highest score we've had in our patron champ
It's
jump league.
near perfect, to be honest.
Yeah. It was the highest scoring champ and the highest scoring chump this Basho.
Yeah,
So
absolutely bonkers. Maybe I shouldn't have made the point about how bad we did, and then we need to move on to talk about that. Anyways, victory statement. Zombie Mommy says, sumo has become an integral part of my life the last few years. It's an honor to have been able to beat my son's ex-nemesis. When did Ben stop being my nemesis? Dang it. I'm going to pretend I didn't see that and that I'm still Ben's nemesis. Her teenage son and I have wrestled, and I think we have officially at tournaments only faced each other one time, and I won. So he's the one wrestler I have a winning record against in official tournaments.
a teenage boy. Congratulations, Jake.
A teenager trying sumo for the first time.
He's a wily teenage boy.
He is, to be fair, he's
down.
very wily. Yes. Yes, Flair can attest to that. Anyways, it's an honor to have been able to beat my son's absolutely still arch nemesis. The goal is always to beat Ryan, so yay. Flair, make sure to come to more events. Hanging with you is fun. Mac, come to consulates so we can actually meet and I can flaunt my win in person. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Ganbate.
I appreciate she's not calling me to travel. Thank you. I appreciate it.
She beat you. She doesn't need to. She already has everything she needs from you.
Don't make me talk about how much easier it is to score points in our patron league than it is our league. Even though with her pick, she still would have wiped the floor with me.
Oh,
Just
God, yeah. No, if
excuses.
she was in our league, she would have crushed us.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Love you too. I'm planning to go to the Midwest Open, I believe.
Yes, in Indiana,
cool.
and I am hoping that she can bring Ben there for us to probably get our asses handed to by.
It's possible. I keep seeing pictures of him on the football field, so he might be kind of busy with.
We just
sumo
gotta hope that he's devoted to
adjacents.
football. Yeah.
Just gotta hope that he's like cornerback, wide receiver, and he's not going for like offensive, defensive lineman.
He's not a lineman, but I don't think he's relegated to the defensive backfield.
All right, but
well.
with every winner, there has to be a loser, and this time our loser was Sumo Nerd, and he has also provided us with a statement. Dear GSB crew, dear listeners, I'm sad. Not because of winning the wooden spoon in the Champ Chump contest. In fact, I'm feeling a little honored by this. But I'm sad because of the retirement of my all-time champ, Taka Keisho, who basically is the reason why I can speak here. Now, the Champ Chump competition will become much more complicated for me when I must use my brain instead of my heart to choose my champ. But great Taka Keisho prepared me with his regular absence in the last few Bashos, and maybe I'll be at the other end of the competition soon, at least until I find another champ of the heart. I'd like to thank you guys for all the efforts which you put into this podcast and all the things around it, especially thanks to Ryan for 2 Taka Keisho and 1 Takeru Fuji trading card. I like to end with a quote from Ash Warren from his book, The Way of Salt, Sumo and the Culture of Japan. Sumo is what they do in heaven when they get too big for playing rugby. So thank you, Sumo Nerd, formerly known as Rugby Nerd.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Excellent.
All right, let's get to our bold predictions, see how people did in guessing what was going to happen in the Aki Basho.
Don't we need to pick Flarik's punishment?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
No, it's okay. You can keep on.
The bell was
running
about
down
to
the-
ring, and I'm like, teacher, you didn't check our homework.
Hey, as that guy, I appreciate it.
I think all 4 of us are that guy.
Yeah. So I don't
That's
know
what this
Ryan.
show is.
what
You do so much work for the podcast. I really appreciate you. Appreciate
Thank
you. too.
you.
Yeah, especially those 2 sumo cards you gave the Sumo Nerd. It's been
2
great.
Taka Keisho and 1 Takeru Fuji.
You're fantastic. So
Yeah.
generous.
You should be kind to that person that's being kind to you, Ryan.
I should. You're right. But I won't because I just don't have it within me. I don't have it deep down in the cockles of my heart, deep down in the mollusks of my organ that pumps blood to keep me alive. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What should we do to Flarik?
Your barnacles are cold. They demand Taylor Swift. You should
No,
make him
that's
sing
already
a song.
rejected.
I'm vetoing a song, so no, not this time.
Okay.
Too much going on.
Could make him do some poetry, make him write a Dr. Seuss rhyme. We've done movie scene punishment somewhat recently, I think.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's like something we could do to Fleric. 'Cause he seems susceptible to that. I don't know. Could we do we could do a spicy thing to Fleric? Last time it was Mac, but Mac has his damned allergies, so we couldn't go too hard on him. But Fleric, as far as I know, does not have an allergy.
Bring it on. I will say I used to love spicy, but then I had a fresh ghost pepper, and I'm actually, I don't know.
It broke your
scary.
mouth.
It didn't go away. It didn't go away.
I think, yeah. Let's do the spicy. Let's make it just easy on everybody. No prep needed, except we got to buy some spicy crap and probably some salt milk for Fleric on.
Let's
preview
delve the depths of the international food markets here in town and find something to make him eat.
Yeah, I like it. We'll render Fleric as mute as Mac by the end of the preview episode.
Mac, you can't be sick by the next preview because me and Ryan would have to carry it otherwise.
Yes, we'll need a third.
I love it.
All right, now let's move on to our
Dear
bold
God.
predictions. You should have taken the Taylor Swift song, Fleric. So
Shake it off.
yeah, try to shake off the ghost peppers we're gonna feed you.
Oh, we should have made him sing something. Call it Cruel Basho. That would have been good.
That would have been good. I was playing around with. I wanted to do like the Wheel of Taylor, and so I was gonna put like a bunch of Taylor Swift songs on it and just spin and have it randomly happen. But like every song I added, it was just like, yeah, but I really wish it was Shake It Off. I really hope it lands on Shake It Off. So I was like, no, we'll just go with Shake It Off. And then Flair's like, nah, I'm busy.
Yeah.
So ghost peppers, my friend.
Okay.
I'm okay with this compromise.
Let's ruin your body instead of your mind.
Yes. And hopefully your mind will go down with it. So our bad predictions.
God willing.
Our first one comes
You guys
from,
are great friends. You're fantastic.
Love you too, buddy.
from our dear friend Wata, who is deep within a very fun like kind of Bonds-K math deep dive into like how that all works statistically over like the past 25 years. But as good as he is at Bonds-K statistics, he's as bad at Bonds or Basho predictions. He had a Wakataka Kage Make Koshi, an Atami Fuji Komosubi promotion, Atami Fuji 7 and 8, Onokatsu back down to Juryo, losing record, but not bad enough to go to Juryo. And his final three in the Yusho race, he had Hoshoryu, Takada Fuji, and Abi.
Awful.
And he didn't have like any other predictions that I'm like ignoring that were actually good. Those are just all of his predictions.
Everything just bad. You know, we should go easy on him. Those Swedes don't get to see the sun for another 6 months.
We do love you, Wata. The Tachiai blog said that Takanosho is for real, and he is really going to drop out of the joy with a 4-11 record from Maegashira 1.
I think Tachiai owes us a t-shirt.
Yeah. Anytime anybody predicts this, it's going to end up automatically in the bad section. Shodai winning the Basho from Rebecca Ludwig. No, it's not happening again. Don't. He got 10 wins, but he's not gonna win another Yusho. It can't happen, right?
Come on.
Can't. Don't.
You got close. Close.
He was 3 wins back. That's not close.
Double digit.
Wakataka Kage got close.
All right, what's next?
Jack Ose said a Takakeisho 13-2 playoff loss to Terano Fuji to Rikshi that had a total of 0 wins this Basho.
Oof.
Yep. Our good predictions. There were some good predictions.
Yeah.
It was a tough battle for our t-shirt winner. Sometimes it's like we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Let's see who we can get. This was a tough battle. So there's some good predictions this time. In that category, we have Lord Hochiyama, Terano Fuji out, Takakeisho retires, another Maegashira Yusho as the Yozeki let the cup slip through their fingers again. So The Ozeki let the cup slip through their fingers again, but it was Ono Sato who was able to jump on it and take the cup this time. This one, I so desperately wanted to give him the t-shirt or them the t-shirt this time. Breeze of the Dene, who since time immemorial on every bold predictions has predicted a Takayasu Yusho forever and ever without a doubt. And this time he finally said Takayasu will not win the Yusho. And he was correct, or they were correct. And I really, really wanted to give them the t-shirt, but there were just some others that were just too good. And we couldn't. I wanted to. I'm so sorry.
If you lost it in a playoff, I'd say that this one would be t-shirt worthy.
Yep. We had Cam Klein, who said that Takakeisho would lose his Ozeki status. Ono Sato goes 12-3, takes the Yusho, and the JSA gives him Ozeki. His only losses coming from Maegashira ranked wrestlers. He was close until day 15 when Abi beat Ono Sato, but that's pretty good prediction. We had Q Breezy said Takayasu does great and tricks some into believing again.
Yep.
But Ono Sato takes the cup. Takeru Fuji stomps Juryo, and saying Takakeisho won't get 10 is weak sauce, but he gets 6 wins at best. That was good. That was good.
4.5 for 5. Excellent work.
But we're going to give it. The t-shirt winner goes to, and it's not favoritism, to patron Chewy Ken, who had 2 Sekiwake with losing records. Abi, check. Takakeisho, check. Kotozakura wins on day 1. Check. Ono Sato gets enough for Ozeki. Check. Takeru Fuji, Juryo Yusho. Check. Shishi gets enough wins for Makuuchi promotion. Check. Aonishiki gets 5 wins. Aonishiki got 6 wins. Check. So we had Yusho race predictions. We had Juryo to Makuuchi predictions. We had Makushita to Juryo predictions. Chewy Ken, you absolutely knocked it out of the park. We will be getting a hold of you. Actually, pretty easy to get a hold of you. You're very active in the Discord. We'll get a hold of you.
Let's just go
get a hold of us. Give us your t-shirt information.
Very specific guesses too. Props.
Yeah,
to that.
I love that.
Bravo. Just bravo.
That's what we're looking for.
Big swings.
Absolutely. And Q Breezy, don't feel too bad. You've already gotten a t-shirt and you're also in the Discord.
Runner up is far from a bad thing in this particular player show.
Fleric has proposed creating a special tier category for predictors like yourself who win the shirts or at least have predictions worthy of winning a shirt multiple times. Fleric, what were you proposing?
Maybe Komosubi, but maybe Chanko Chef, the steam position in the Heya. The one who makes the Chanko Chef.
Yeah, so Q Breezy, you are forever our Chanko Chef, and we will have others join you as
that's legally binding, by the way. You have to cook for us.
Yes,
keep being awesome.
No, you can tell people how to do it or something like that. you get Sukebito, I think. Who knows?
All right, what's next?
The GSB Awards. Jake, I believe you had the first one.
That one wasn't me.
No, that was me. I wrote that a long time ago. I forgot.
It was like day 2, right?
Yeah. The Who Paid Off the Shinpan Award. We went over this. All the Shinpan during the Kotozakura versus Tobizaru match where Toby, it really looked like he won, but the Gyoji and all the Shinpan got it wrong. So yeah, we went over that plenty on the Midway episode. Also, the G-Con Maybe Award goes to Gyoji Shikimori Inosuke. Abi and Kotozakura appeared to start their day 14 match a bit early as the Gyoji was not in the typical starting position. Typically when the match is about to begin, the Gyoji is facing forward, facing the camera, so he can see the match. But at the beginning of the Kotozakura Abi match, the Gyoji was turned sideways facing the east side, I believe. I should probably figure out exactly all the specifics because I'm sure there's a damn good reason why he faces the direction he does. But he was out of position for the start of the match. And that's something that can happen. A G-Con May or G-Con Mai, something like that. Yeah. It is something that can be done starting the match before the Gyoji is in position if mutually agreed to by both Rikishi. But it turns out Gyoji just lost track of where they were in the starting ritual and was mispositioned. The other guys, it wasn't really a G-Con Mai. It was just Gyoji was in the wrong spot. Hey, it was his first Basho as a Tate Gyoji. We got to cut him some slack.
Yeah. Props for the pun here. The Jikan Mai, calling it a Jikan Mai, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could
I
use
liked
some
it.
work. I liked it. I think it's got some legs there. Speaking of Tate Gyoji, we didn't mention it. The very top ranked Gyoji. This was his last Basho ever. And
Kimura Shonosuke. Yep.
if you watch Nato's coverage, and I'm sure it's included elsewhere as well, but they showed him getting flowers on his way out, doing some hugs and high fives kind of a deal on his way past everybody on his way out. But yeah, last time that he it would have been the Kotozakura Hoshoryu match was the last match that he will ever officially preside over. So
yeah, he obviously had his issues with his many overturned calls, but it was really cool to see like the emotion that he had and just like how upset he was that he had to retire and just how much he was going to miss the fans. And I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something like he did it for the like the roar of the applause from the fans, and that's what he was going to miss
for sure. Yeah, the Gyoji, the Yobidashi, the coaches, the Shimpan, like everybody there, they're all there because they love it and they want to do it for their entire careers. And yeah, this guy putting a cap on it at the end there, that was a really cool moment. A couple more awards here. GSB Awards, we have the Olay Award, fan favorite here, I assume. A repeat offender, I guess, for this award. We have Abi dealing an excellent henka on day 12 to Hoshoryu. Just picture perfect, nailed it. It was the kind of henka that just made me just upset afterwards. Like, that's how you know that you really nailed it. On the opposite end, we have the Oh No Award going to Kirishima for an absolutely trash attempt versus Ono Sato on day 10. Absolutely blew it. Went for the henka and got caught and immediately pushed out. Just garbage and excellent at the same time.
Yeah, we talked about that one a little bit in our Discord, and I was kind of on the boat. It's like, it didn't work for Kirishima, but I'm putting more of the credit for Ono Sato for like putting himself in a good position to not immediately be slapped down and just have the extreme quickness to be able to adjust immediately and force Kirishima out. I think for me, an Oh No Henko award would go more to like, I think Takayumi had a really bad attempt.
Yeah, he did.
In one of the final days. But yeah, I'm giving more credit to Ono Sato than blame to Kirishima in that one. Ono Sato's just good.
We'll call that Oh No Award for the match itself.
Yeah.
Instead of just
also,
Kirishima.
Don't Henka the undefeated guy that's trying to win the U show.
Come on.
Maybe that's why he didn't get a special prize.
There it is.
Yeah. And then our match of the Basho. This was a good Basho for some high quality matches. On day 3, we had Abi versus Hira de Umi. Day 5, this was Oho's coming out party for the Basho. Kotozakura versus Oho. Day 12, Ono Sato picking up his first loss against Wakataka Kage. Wakataka Kage pulling that out of nowhere. Day 13, Ono Sato versus Kotozakura. So good they had to do it twice. I said that wrong. So nice you have to do it twice. Damn it, Ryan. Do better.
It rhymes and everything.
I know. What's wrong with me?
It's okay, and then Ryan. You're great. You got this.
Thank you. Thank you, Flair. You still have to eat like 20 ghost peppers.
What? Ganbate, Tsukebito. Ganbate.
Ganbate. Day 14, Ryuden versus Hokuto Fuji. A bit lower stakes than all of these other matches, but a great hard-fought belt battle between these two. And in the end, we are giving the match of the Basho to Ono Sato versus Kotozakura Part 1. Very back-and-forth match that had a very, very close finish. But this was a split vote. We were all over the place. Mac voted for Ono Sato versus Wakataka Kage. Worthy. I voted for Ryuden versus Hokuto Fuji. Worthy. Ono Sato versus Kotozakura voted for by Jake and Fleric. Also worthy. These were 3 great matches, and ultimately, Ono Sato, Kotozakura got the nod from the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast. All right, so we need everybody's favorite moment of the Basho. Let's not start with Mac. Let's start with Jake.
Honestly, I think it's just Ono Sato's coronation story here. Especially clinching it a day early. losing to Abi pathetically on the last day didn't blow that away, even if it did its best to. But no, this guy, he's the next thing, and this just cements it further. It was awesome.
All right,
Yeah.
Mac, you seem angry that we skipped you. So, what was your favorite moment?
Can you speak?
Can you mime it? Don't mime it, Mac.
Oh,
This
no,
is-
he's going to try. No, just talk. Just talk.
Shishi.
Okay. Yeah,
A man
but it'll
of
be
few
fun
words.
to get to know him next Basho in the top division.
Hopefully that does better than my Juryo crush of Shirokuma.
Yeah.
Go for the lion, man. Just go for the lion. Better than the polar bear.
All right. I think for me is I kind of this thought kind of came to me as we were talking, just Ono Sato finally arriving, and then all the other just amazing Rikishi that we're excited about with Takeru Fuji coming up. Atami Fuji, you can't count him out. Hoshoryu and Kotozakura are kind of like some of the older, and Teruno Fuji as well, who are kind of the mainstays, but they're still kind of pretty young. And just Wakataka Kage looking like he's coming back. Same with Kirishima. We're finally here. We're in like the post Basho, post Hako era where we have all these exciting young starts. And so many of the people we're excited about are still super, super young. So they're going to stay around for quite some time. So yeah, just the fact that we're just excited for the future of sumo. I think that was my favorite part of the Basho.
Yeah, and for me, I greatly enjoyed the Ono Sato Yusho and his mostly dominance and just a sign of what's here to come for years and years. But I think my favorite part was Kirishima, like being back and not being the Kirishima that he has been for all of 2024, and kind of hopefully showing that maybe he will get back up to Ozeki, because God, that's probably my biggest disappointment this year was Kirishima just not being healthy enough to keep his Ozeki rank. So this is a good first step, and I was very happy to see that.
The Kirishima versus Hoshoryu match was very hype.
It's always so good. They always do something stupid and crazy to each other, and that like trip into a throw that Hoshoryu had against Kirishima was fantastic. Hoshoryu wasn't his greatest this Basho, but when he was winning, he still makes it look good
totally
and fun. Yeah.
He celebrated after beating Kotozakura on the last day as if it was a Yusho win.
Yeah. Hey, it kept him from being Kadoban. I'm not sure. I don't think Hoshoryu's been Kadoban yet, so I bet that's something he wants to keep off of his record and not have to stress about. All right. I think we've pushed it off for long enough. The sumo erotica is the punishment. We're putting it right at the end of the episode. If sumo erotica is not your thing, hey, we're done.
Go on, get.
Well,
Get-
don't
go on,
get yet. Remember, do the popularity poll, please. I'm begging you. It's been up for maybe about 2 hours now. We're at 172 responses. Let's keep those numbers going up. We want to crack 1,000 responses this time. We fell just a little bit short last year. Let's make sure we get past 1,000 this time. And then I think we're going to have a pretty active between Basho month. We're going to have the popularity poll results. Mac, I swear I'm gonna get with you one of these evenings and open up a trading box of trading cards. We're gonna be starting up a new episode that we're gonna do between the Bashos, just kind of a roundup of all the off the dojo news between the Bashos, just kind of keep us up to date in between the Bashos. And then Jake's gonna have some Amazumo episodes. We're gonna have the Bansuke episodes. We're gonna be eating good between the Aki and the Kyushu Bashos this time. It's not gonna be a barren wasteland of Grand Sumo podcasting between the Bashos this time.
Yeah. Basho starts on November 9th. So keep an eye out for that Sunday.
And the Sumo Erotica starts now, I assume?
Well, here's the thing. I was surprised when you mentioned that earlier because I think I misunderstood the assignment.
Basho
didn't-
starts Sunday, November 10th, not the 9th. That's a Saturday, Jake. You idiot.
Well, 9th Japanese time, right?
I don't think that's how it works. It'll be
No,
9th in America when it starts on the 10th in Japan. So I guess, yeah.
I thought I'd take a swing. I don't know. Maybe I was right. I don't really understand the time zone still. Regardless, for my punishment here, though, I did kind of misunderstand the assignment. So I'll give you what I got, but I don't know if it's what you're looking for. It wasn't designed to be. I didn't write it to be erotica. You know, if you find anything erotic in this, I think that's on you. What's up, Flair?
I'll let you cook. I'll let you cook.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I guess I thought we were just talking about amateur sumo tips. So really, all I did was I wrote up some instructions on how to tie a mawashi, or how to be tied in a mawashi, because that's something that, regardless, I think this will come in handy for amateur sumo wrestlers. And if this is, like I said, if you find anything dirty or erotic in this, I think that's on you. Don't keep your minds out of the gutter. But for tying a mawashi, step number 1, get naked, spread your legs. This thin piece of fabric here will be your only clothing, tightly binding your most sensitive parts for the duration of this experience. Step number 2, firmly embrace this end to your chest as I slide its length between your legs. Step number 3, sliding it between your legs, allow it to firmly fondle you from below. Step number 4, lower yourself slightly so I can grab the cloth from below and caress it gently up your backside. Step number 5, now reach around to grab the thickest part and see how it curves to the right. Step number 6, spin around a few times so I can get a good look at you. Feel it get girthier with each turn. Step number 7, when we reach the tip, suck in hard so I can force this up and under every layer. Number 8, brace your body as I pull the end hard. Feel it get tighter and tighter. Step number 9, I'll fold the end over and cram it into the hole. And step number 10, the final step here, stretch out and feel the freedom in your hips as you prepare to slam your body into other nearly naked men. And that is how you get a mawashi tied on you.
Yes, I've had that happen to me a few times. It
Perfectly accurate, right? And absolutely
sounds
not dirty.
exactly like the experiences that I've had.
I hate the part where you have to shove in the hole. It's
See, for me, it's the sitting down part. It
really takes a lot of finger strength to manipulate the tip at the end. Yeah.
sometimes it's just so tight. Come on.
The one thing is I don't appreciate how objectified I feel when I have to spin around. So Jake specifically can get a good look at me.
Right. You just don't clench. Just don't tense. Just relax.
I know that the noise I make as I tie a mawashi on Ryan as he's spinning, the grunting noise. I know he doesn't appreciate that very much, but I don't know. It's hard work tying a mawashi.
It's like walking that fine line between not appreciating that much and appreciating maybe too much. It's like kind of walking that fine line, you know?
We're very Top Gun volleyball when we do sumo together, I think is what we're getting at. All right. Well, there you have it. My completely non-erotic instructions. Maybe by next podcast, I'll actually write some sumo erotica for you. So
sounds good.
That is more than enough. As a former Yokozuna, I appreciate it. That was fantastic. Well done.
Thank you. All right. Can we finally put this one out of its misery?
Yeah. Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time, throw your salt high and get that mawashi tied tight.